And YouTube, Robert Firestone of Flyover State of West Virginia, 9 or 8:19 a.m. 6/3/2020. I've been wondering for a while, and I couldn't put my finger on it, but we are so easily swayed, every one of us, in one way or another, to believe things and to accept things. Hope comes along with it. Faith comes along with it. Okay, my faith and hope is the outcome of all this stuff going on here in the United States and the world, because it all interconnects, because it's the same old people doing this crap. We've got proof of this throughout history. I've had my ups and downs with Trump. And I told my fiance, and I think I've told maybe one of my neighbors, that his scenario and what he's doing didn't never seem like it fit. It was the savior at the time to turn everything around. But I have, like I said, I still have my doubts on what's going on here, because we're talking 4 years, and the only thing we've seen go down is, don't get me wrong, all the shameful, idiotic people. The shameful, idiotic people. Okay? Now, it's been shown, if we're given a source of information, we go dig, we go find, we search things out. Okay? That's fine and dandy. The problem of it is, okay, I find said source. Read said source. Okay, I'm just using the pedophiles, for example. You can go look these things up on different websites. Okay, just like the Federal Reserve can add zeros and ones to these accounts digitally, so phone, computer, don't mean that it's real. Okay, the problem that I'm having, I don't have no, I don't, let's see, it is not that I don't have faith in our Lord. That's the only thing I can trust. And the only thing we have together here on this earth is our word with each other. That's the only two strong bonds that is here on this earth, leveled on this earth. One with a being that we can't see, but we have an understanding does exist. And the other is having word with each other and making sure our word means something, like it did 100 years ago. Okay, who's to say, and I'm putting this out here, I couldn't find, I guess, the right words before, and I'm still not sure if I've got the right words for this. I feel like the show is going on, the movie, according to Q and Trump and the rest of the white hats. But has anybody ever speculated on why we would need this? They keep coming up with these excuses. Q just done something yesterday and put out a drop. 4 to 6% of the population will never wake up. They're always going to be brain dead. Okay, I'd say it's a little higher than that. Okay, just got done watching a video of a lady. She was talking about the individual speaking in the video was her and an ex-KGB agent, which most of us know, I think, is like the Russian CIA. Okay, and he goes in complete detail on what our United States government has been doing to its people. This is 1984. But now it's been done for so long that if you walked up with the murder weapon, blood dripping off of it, DNA evidence to back it up in file, eyewitnesses, videotape, still pictures, and a hammer busting you in the toe, there's so much of the population would not accept it. Why? According to this KGB agent, they've been slowly, he had a big fancy word for it, slowly been indoctrinating our minds, manipulating our minds with the media, the movies, the media, desensitizing us. Always, have you not noticed how we're treated from kindergarten up? We're supposed to want authority over us. Well, there's only one judge and jury, and that's God. Okay? This is what people start finding out as they get older. I know, for me, I know there's a God. Some people out there, they're again, God could be standing in front of them, giving them a spoon of water, healing them in every way, and they would still deny God. That's exactly what's going on. Even our Bible tells us that people's going to be this way even to the end days. Okay, so if our own Bible projects this, okay, I would hate to think, and this is the faith in me and the hope, okay, I would hate to think that Donald J. Trump is part of this game that's getting played on us, okay? I've noticed how everybody, the mainstream media, say something about Trump and what he said or done, and then you got this whole group of people that falls right in behind that and says, no, Trump didn't say that, he didn't say this, he didn't say that, but he did, okay? The whole time, nobody's clarifying what he actually said and what it actually meant. They're just assuming, the media and the people that follow Trump. Okay? I'm one of them that's following him too. Okay? And to anybody out there, and also Mr. Trump, I've read enough of The Art of War to understand sometimes when your enemy comes upon you and you can't see him or hear him, but you got this presence feeling, okay, that something's wrong. So, is he or isn't he an actor? According to Q, everything playing out is a movie. Okay? That was our trap a long time ago anyway. The movie theaters, the TV, the one-eyed monster, the newsprint. We have all been socially programmed probably since, just a rough estimate, probably since the early 1800s or beforehand, because people seen the power of the spoken word. There again, that's even in the Bible. The power of the spoken word is a two-edged sword. Our Bible's given us the hints, and I do believe man has corrupted our Bible But being a letter from God and divine to all of us, okay, from me, I can't speak for everybody else, but this is the way I'm seeing it. No matter what man done to corrupt the Bible by taking out all these books, changing the wording, you need 30 different Bibles now to find out who God is. No, you need to study this one. This is more clarified. No, this one over here has got more history. This one, blah, 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 blah. It's the same thing in every walk of life, in everything we do. Now, like I said, I would like to think, love to think, that Trump is the answer to a lot of this. But if we leave God out of the picture, and he keeps putting God back in it too, and have you noticed, if you follow history, go back and you look at your presidents, and especially times of turmoil, how many mention God? And at the key moments of things going down, Trump's doing the same thing. Okay? Myself, I know that this warfare that's going on is way greater than the physical. That's me. And if the only thing that we have in all of this is us, it's always about we, the people. But have you noticed how we, the people, don't have no remedy for this? We don't have no recourse for this. The only thing that I could see would shut this down in its tracks completely is to totally disband the government as we know it. Shut it all down. There are going to have to be some key elements, of course, left open uh, to sanctify our so-called safety, if there is such thing. But when you got groups of people that's constantly like this, not for just us, we're a baby country, a couple hundred years, but we're talking thousands of years all over this earth, the good and the bad. And then we give definitions of good and bad, okay, what we think good is and what we think bad is, which, again, our true litmus test is our Bible. It explains good, it explains bad. It also explains the outcomes by the history of the people that's in the Bible on if you make the wrong choices. I just started realizing this about 5 years ago. Life's easy. It is easy as shit. The problem is they left out one equation when they try to keep telling life's hard. Life's not hard. Life's only hard if you make the wrong choices. But we have a 50-50 toss-up. Sometimes it's 75-20, sometimes it's 80-20. Depends on the situation and what's involved and how many people. These scenarios that play in every one of our lives. Every damn one of us go through this. We all bleed, don't we? We all fart. We all burp. Most of it, all of us can see and hear, speak. I don't think people really realized how close that we all really are to each other. Okay, don't matter your damn race either when it comes to certain things. Your feelings, your emotions, we all have them. I don't give a damn what color you are. We all bleed if we get cut or shot. I don't give a damn what color you are. We all can have heart disease. We all can have lung disease. We can all have some kind of cancer or AIDS. Don't make a damn what color you are. There's only two genders on this earth, man and woman. We're here to, bluntly, to have sex, have babies. to populate the earth. Don't matter what color you are. Then you got groups constantly fighting against natural things, like they really got to say so. Every time I get to see a good, loud thunderstorm out here in West Virginia, and we live in kind of like a little valley type thing, I've seen some horrific, beautiful lightning in Texas in the desert. Just amazing. It just, not one strike, but 20 or 30 at one time. It just light up the whole. I mean, you can see for miles. It looked like in the storm after lightning would hit. Here, thunder seems like it, when you hear it and it's upon you, it don't quit thundering. And you know it has, but it sounds like it rolls on for minutes and minutes and minutes at a time. It's almost like it sounds like it lasts for half an hour or so after one big boom. But that tells me there's a God right there. That's all I need to know. Man thinks he's hot shit when God could do things like that. Man ain't that much. The sad part of it is, somehow, some way, you got other groups of men and women that think we need to be taken control of. I'm still not figuring that one out. Population control. The Stonehenge here in America. Right now, my brain's not functioning enough to tell you exactly where it is, but I kind of started seeing through that a little bit, because this population control, if you logically think, okay, of population, the rich, the elite, the kings and queens, seen back many years ago, that their kingdom was growing, which was a good thing for them because it meant more money coming in, or taxes. But at the same time, there was this individual in the background, the bean counter, I guess, that was keeping up with the statistics on how many people there were. Okay. And these individuals was whispering in these leaders' ears, explaining to them how the population was outgrowing them, and before it was over with, that there could have been a chance. Okay. And my understanding, that never happened because these people that was overpopulating the kings and the queens and the courtyard jesters, the men and the women that worked in and around the castle and the kingdom, the ones that was actually the bread and butter for the queen and the king and the rest of them, they started fearing them, thinking that they was going to start outnumbering them. Hey, that's already happened. And I don't think people's actually realized that. So the population bullshit, thinning everybody out, and Gates running around wanting to stick a fucking needle in people. I don't know where the outcome's coming to all this. But like I've explained this to other people too, it's impossible that the population control is out of control. Okay, but you've got so many people. If it's at 4 to 6%, I'm saying it's higher. Okay, of people that don't even think for themselves. They're just emotional, programmed robots, A to B every day. Okay, and that's all they know. That's all they want to know. They don't. Critical thinking, when you open the door to critical thinking, for a lot of people, it hurts them because they step out past their norm and that scares the shit out of them. But that was part of the program too. If we ever do go full-fledged civil war, the only thing I can ask everybody is to have an understanding that your neighbor is not your enemy because of their color. If you know people and y'all have an understanding and it can be put together and orchestrated in the right way, okay, we all need to go after the same enemy because we all have the same enemy, okay, which is in these days and times is even harder to see and hear and have an understanding because they've gotten so good at mesmerizing us with their bullshit spells and TVs and all this other crap that they've been laying down on us for years, okay, that we have a hard time seeing through. It's got truth written all over it. It's whatever document, just like I said, the population thing. That, if there's 1,000 ways to die and only one way to be born, do you see the odds? So here again, we've been led to believe something that's not true. Okay, woman, man, bam, 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 bam. 9 months takes to get here. That's why I keep telling everybody that Social Security's not broke. If you could take a census of all the people since the Social Security started till this day only, and it's been the Lord's Day 6/3/2020, y'all would be finding out that there's more people dying in between these dates than there's been born. Okay? And any kind of paperwork that we read on the internet or get sent to us, Freedom of Information Act, okay? How do we judge this without actually saying that we know for sure this is a fact and this is true? When you got to remember, these are the same people that's kept us in a mental bondage, and we didn't know. That slave is one that don't know he is a slave. That's what's been going on. All of a sudden, all this truth starts coming out. Now, these things is all also spoken in the Bible, and we got a lot of Christian people and prophets out here saying that Trump is the one to rightfully set things back in proper order. Okay, where everything is fair to all. But see here again, they have a rule book telling them what's fair to all, when you might have another whole group of people out here saying, well, that's not quite fair. So all I can do is suggest to all of us, if you want to have faith in anything, have faith in God, not a man. He puts his pants on just like we do. Okay? Pray for that man, of course, and hope to God that he is on God's side, because I don't know. He's given me his fruit of his tree. But see, here again, when you're messing with the good and the bad can show itself as a real good thing for a very long time. Then all of a sudden, completely do a 360. That speaks of in the Bible too, especially about the Antichrist. He comes in, he don't come in as war. He comes in, solves problems. He comes in wealthy, making everybody else wealthy. And this is the only thing that I can see Trump amazingly doing. Okay, I don't want to believe that, because I got faith enough in God that I know that that outcome's got to come eventually. Okay, the whole world's going to be marveling after this individual. There's little words and phrases in our Bible about our Antichrist. I'm not saying Trump is. Okay, that'd be foolish of me to even try to project that on anybody. Okay? But along with him and history of revival, him being David, a new David, or Cyrus. I've heard different prophets talk about it, and I'm trying to give a scale in my own head and heart to know what truth is, what truth ain't. But truth has been so jaded for so long because it's been used for so long for all the wrong things. Just that little bit is all it takes. Then you can confab a complete story with one little bit of truth. If people's paying attention to the riots, okay, Pelosi and I think it was Schumer, that subhuman individual, they play their role in all this crap too. The MSN reports that Trump was firing tear gas at these people, okay, supposedly protesters, peaceful protesters, okay. Then it comes out an individual on Twitter and tells everybody it was not tear gas, it was smoke grenades, okay. It was to give the law enforcement cover to back up, regroup, okay. I don't know if the White House has been attacked or not, okay. All I can do is draw conclusions on what I'm seeing on the internet. I don't watch the fucking news no more, okay. Don't watch anything when it comes to the mainstream media, because that, in my heart, I believe I'm right. They're full of lies, bullshit, and they've been part of the problem since conception. Because individuals understood the power of the spoken word when it started, and then we got also a lot of so-called smart people that's brainwashing individuals as they come up through the system, and this falls right back under the four hidden dynasties again. The religion, the political, the education, and the financial, the four, okay? They all block together. They all work together. I don't even know for sure, because I'm not there touching it. It's like me touching this lighter. I know I've got a lighter in my hand. I know that if I strike it, it lights. Okay? I know if I've got a neighbor comes to me and asks me for some help trying to get his truck out of mud, I'm there with it. I'm touching it. I know it's real. When we have information that's flying so fast, hard, and heavy right now, and this is good and bad information, how much of it can we actually say is true because we're not there? Okay? We've got many people that we're trusting for the truth and telling us the truth. I mean, you got young black men showing piles of bricks all over the city, and looking at the camera and telling them, we know what you're doing. Okay? Him, I guess, in his way of, saying something to the deep state. That's the word now. But it's also had many names throughout history too, and it always seems like it always changes its name and its process when it gets close to getting something accomplished. So, is this really working to our benefit, or is this another show, dog and pony show, 3-card Monte shell game that's being played on us? I understand con men, okay? I had some good ones in my family. And I've also watched documentaries on the con men and con women. And their favored targets was always somebody that was well educated or with money, okay? The greedy side of it, you'd understand the money, okay? The main reason they always run to them people to con because they found them the easiest to manipulate. Now, you would think education and somebody of wealth would be a whole lot wiser and smarter than the average guy on the street. But that ain't the case. That ain't so. These little hints of things have been showed to us for many years and have us have an understanding. Like I said, our forefathers, a bunch of damn farmers, okay? They wanted to get out from under the tyranny of a king and a queen, okay? Have some say-so in their life and create something that would have say-so for everybody else that come after that, okay? It's been that way, and that's an illusion too. The Act of 1871, people that ain't never read it, you need to go read it. Uh, we've been playing with an entity known as our government, and there's two of them, okay? The funny part is that worked the same way with the birth certificates. Okay, everybody was born on such and such day. That same day that you was born, there was another individual being born on a piece of paper. Okay, people have a hard time fathoming that, but these pieces of paper is what gets us around in this world. IDs, birth certificates, social security cards. But at the same time, this individual on a piece of paper was being sold and traded on the stock market. Don't know for sure if that's still going on or not. Apparently, it got stopped. Don't know. Here again, I'm not the one handing out the rules and regulations. I'm not the one to see the outcomes of these rules and regulations, other than I'm a third hand party, just like 90% of us is when it comes to what they're telling us is truth or not truth, or this is happening or that's not happening. Okay? You look at Barr. I believe that before it's over with, and I'm not trying to project this in the wrong way, we're going to find out when all this chaos finally comes to a head, and it's coming, um, that the people that Donald Trump has been trusting may have been the same people that was taking us down. Okay? The military industrial complex. I was talking about this months ago, and that was what got my mind going in a path for whatever reason. Okay? Whatever set me into that path to question what was going on. We should have never quit questioning. 5 years old, we should still been that way for the rest of our lives. Why? Who, what, when, where? But we get convinced that what we're seeing is something good. Okay? And in a lot of ways, it is. Okay? I've heard conflicting things with Trump on the Second Amendment. Okay? Only thing I can tell all y'all brothers and sisters out there, there's going to come a point in time, maybe, hope not, that you all and me is going to have to make a decision. And it's going to be a life and death decision. A lot of people don't want to hear that either. Okay? But we may have to end up being martyrs, okay? Just like this individual there, I can't, that started this new chaos because the crown virus wasn't doing any good no more, okay? They had to dump something right in behind it, so they went right back to racism. The only reason that there's anything to do with racism is because the videotape, the video call or phone, wherever, however it was done, injects the emotion and fear and anger back upon us without us giving a rational reason for said things. Because most of us out here cannot see ourselves doing this, to go out of our way to do these things. But these individuals that's been brought up on the other side of the track, so to speak, they've been taught to not pay no attention to these things and carry these things out as just part of life. That's one scenario, but there's many others. And programming, every one of us is programmed, whether we like it or not. If, like I said, that book that I read years ago, it was called The Green Sky, Blue Grass. There's been 2 books. That one I got, it wasn't a very thick book. That one I actually got to skim through and read a lot of things. Okay, the head scientist in the book that was writing the book was one of the German scientists from the paperclip thing back years ago. Okay, and the thing of it was, and they know this, if you take control of a young mind and you can manipulate it in its first, I think, 6 or 7 years or up to 9 years old or something of that nature, you can make that kid believe anything that you tell it. Okay, their mind will even focus, and they will tell themselves, their mind will tell them that the sky is green and the grass is blue. Okay, that was proven in that book. The other one was the Book of Angels that I got a glimpse of. I got to thumb through the first few pages of it and had it basically ripped out from under my hand by an older man in a library. And what I could see and have an understanding of in this book had a lot of notes in it. The book was old, and it was the human genome. Just, okay, then it was like these little arrows pointing in at structures of the genome. And I've yet never found that book again. And according to histories, Nostradamus had one. Adolf Hitler went forth and got one. There wasn't but about a handful of these books ever written. And my understanding, it was one of the classifications of the fallen angels that wrote this book. It goes into detail on how they polluted the bloodlines. And that's why Noah's generation of his family was picked to go forth and be the new Adam and Eve of the world, because they hadn't been polluted as of yet. It's getting close. And I noticed too, our Lord works on doorstep philosophy. He gives us all the chance and opportunity to move ourselves away from or into or figure things out. Okay. Then at the last minute, he's there standing on our doorstep. He's been there the whole time. He either solves it or lets it go on the way we think it should go. Okay. Now, if the bigger picture plays out for him to benefit us, it'll go a different way than what we picked or thought the outcome should be. For some reason, I've got an ant problem. But anyway, this is probably the longest video I've ever made. But anyway, like I said, please question everything that y'all see and hear when it comes to the good and the bad. And critical, logical thinking, there's nothing wrong with it. Don't let anybody ever tell you that. And like I said months ago, I feel like we're still in the same circus. The only thing has changed is the ringleader, the individual that's sitting in the seat of power. And I knew this years ago. Our government is the same thing as the breakdown of the kings and queens, okay, the parliament, all of this. If you could write down all the houses or all the names of all the government agencies here in the United States, then do the same thing over in England, okay? Write their names down and their job titles, what they're doing. You can take a line and run straight across the page to our government, back and forth. It's the same thing. It has always been the same thing. Even with our forefathers, okay, our moral construct come from our Bible, okay, being that was what it's supposed to be. But the only thing they done was change the names of the government agencies. The only thing I ever see that stops this is every government in the world gets shut down. The ones that's actually caught for corruption, murder, rape, robbery, uh, anything that's uh, humanly, sadistically wrong, executed in front of every one of us. The brain shock will wake you up and give you an outlook on, okay, but it can't be done in a tyranny way. It's just got to be done in a way to where this was the outcome of this individual because this individual done these things. I heard something ding, slam or something. Anyway, y'all, that's probably my neighbor over there letting her cat out. This is the longest one I've done. Like I said, I'm hoping we're not in the same boat that we always have been in, but it's now got a bigger truth undertone of something that's supposed to be righteous and good for us. It makes me want to question that when I'm seeing these so-called men of law keep dragging their nutsack on the ground with these people. If you have this much freaking proof and this much evidence on somebody, it should not take this long to serve justice. I don't care what y'all say. I don't give a damn how many T's you cross or I's you dot, okay? If an individual's got enough charges on them to bring them down and get them out of the public limelight, execute, do whatever's necessary, lock them up. This game is a game, and that is all. That's all we're seeing. Like I said, I've got no way to prove, and none of y'all do either, to prove that these things are actually going on when we go to their websites to gather factual information. Anything could be put in there. Anything could be typed. Any number could be put in there. Anybody's name could be put in there. Okay. If you pay attention, it's usually the name, their charges, and when they arrested them. Okay. It don't give you who they were, where they was at, where they was born, social security numbers, nothing of these things to actually trace it back to a real individual. Y'all can say, well, there's ways of doing it. Yeah, but if these ways has already been manipulated and shaded to draw us into it and make us follow that line, you still don't know if it's true or not. That's the sucky part. I wasn't there. You wasn't there. Okay? Not saying these things is not happening, but for 100% on how they're portraying it to me or anybody else, can we really believe it? Like I said, I'm hoping for the betterment of the outcome. Peace to all y'all. God bless y'all. And we're going to have a hell of a damn road to follow between now and November. And that's only that much of it.